Hi, I'm Mike Papale, Manager of Community Relations at Defibtech. Now that you've purchased your Defibtech Lifeline Automated External Defibrillator, we are going to show you what's in the box, how to set it up, and the next steps you need to take to ensure that your AED is always ready to help save a life. First, here is your AED. Next, here's your quick use card. This should be stored with the AED at all times. Here is your registration cards. We urge you to take the time to register your Defibtech product. Here is your operating guide. This contains all of the necessary information about your AED. Here is one set of adult pads. As a reminder, pediatric pads are sold separately. Pediatric pads are used on anyone 8 years of age or younger, or 55 pounds or less. Here is your 9-volt battery. Finally, here is your battery pack. It is important to note the expiration date of both your battery pack and your pads. The Defibtech Lifeline AED has both a 5-year and a 7-year battery pack option. The expiration date for the battery pack can be found here. AED pads expire every 2 years. The expiration date on the pads can be found here. Now we're going to show you how to attach your pads and insert your battery pack. It is always important to attach your pads prior to inserting the battery pack. When placing the pads, it is important to have the expiration date facing you so it is easily accessible. Once the pads are attached, you can take your 9-volt battery and place it inside the battery pack. Once the 9-volt battery is inside the battery pack, you can insert the battery pack into the side of the AED. Make sure the label is facing you.
Performing battery test. Battery OK. Powering off.
After the device performs its battery test, you should see the active status indicator light flashing green every few seconds. Now that we've taken your AED out of the box and set it up, let's talk about some next steps to ensure that you're always prepared for a sudden cardiac arrest emergency. The first thing we want to talk about is how many AEDs do you have? We recommend that AEDs should be accessible within 3 minutes of all locations. Every minute that goes by without being shocked by an AED drops survival rates 10%. That means when a sudden cardiac arrest emergency occurs, someone should be able to go to the AED and back to the emergency within 3 minutes. Next, we have to decide where is the AED going to go. The first and most important thing is that the AED is always accessible. We have a couple options of where we want to put it. The first is inside a building on the wall. If we want to do this, you can use an alarmed wall cabinet. It is important to remember the wall cabinet should never be locked. You should always have the active status indicator light facing out so you can always check the status of the AED. The cabinet should be very visible and always accessible. It should be unobstructed at a maximum height of 48 inches from the floor, so anyone can go grab the AED when it's needed. Lastly, we want to make sure it's visible, with a three-dimensional universal AED sign above it. Another option is to have the AED outside on a wall. This is a great option because if a building locks at night, the AED can always be accessible. While we want to take into account the same things we talked about before, when placing an AED outside, we also want to make sure that it is temperature controlled. So again, the AED is always ready to help save a life. Finally, we might want the AED to be more portable. If that's the case, you can purchase a soft carry case. When an AED is portable, whether it's on the sidelines, during a practice, or a game, make sure it is always visible and someone can grab it quickly when it is needed. Purchasing an AED is a great first step. We always want to make sure we have a complete AED program so we are always ready to help save a life. That starts with an emergency action plan. An emergency action plan is a written plan that documents exact emergency action when sudden cardiac arrest occurs. This plan should be practiced often and reviewed amongst everyone within your organization. Although it isn't necessary to be trained to use an AED, it is always good to provide CPR and AED training to people within your organization so everyone is practiced and given the opportunity to be prepared to help save a life. There are different training programs out there, and you can pick one that best fits your organization. You also want to keep in mind the importance of maintenance. We always want to make sure the AED's battery and pads are replaced and up to date. We never want them to be expired. Defibtech AED is designed to help customers develop and maintain effective AED programs. Our distributors also offer comprehensive program management opportunities to ensure your AEDs are always ready to help save a life. If program management isn't the option for you, you also can create a plan internally within your organization. We suggest checking the AED at least once a month. Here are some things you should look for when checking the AED. Is the active status indicator light on the AED flashing green? Are the AED pads plugged in and ready for use? Does the AED appear to be undamaged and ready for use? Is the AED free of chirping and other warning notifications? Are the AED pads within their usable date? Is the AED battery within its usable date? If you answer no to any of these questions, please give us a call at Defibtech as soon as possible. Thank you for taking the time to watch this important video. Our mission at Defibtech is to help save lives from sudden cardiac arrest. If you ever need assistance with your AED, please don't hesitate to give us a call.